Did everybody see Stephen Colbert salivating over Cassidy Hutchinson's testimony, that faux testimony in front of the January 6th show committee? Totally. I mean, he thinks you're all dumb rubes. He fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. And he's out autistically repeating this like this is a bombshell, and it's not. It's a big pie. I'm not going to call it a big nothing burger because it's a complete and total lie, according to people who are actually there. But we'll get to that in 1 second. One thing you can ask, I haven't got a good answer on this. I've been able to flummox the autistics on this. If Trump incited a riot, go read the Brandenburg versus Ohio Supreme Court ruling where they tried to get a KKK guy for inciting a riot, and the lower courts convicted him of that, and then this got to the Supreme Court, and they said no, there's a very high standard for that. So read the Brandenburg versus Ohio, if you can read, ruling, and then show me where in Trump's speech he incited any sort of riot. So let's get to this now. Stephen Colbert, I don't think there's any... Well, they describe it perfectly. He hates Trump so much, and he's so angry and so frothing at the mouth that he will literally accept anything. He would probably accept testimony that aliens from Nibiru, Trump was the mastermind behind that in the assassination of JFK. I mean, I don't know if there's any line this idiot won't cross. So he's either not very bright or he thinks his listeners aren't very bright. And a lot of people listen to this guy, and he's totally fake news. So you got to watch out. He's a brainwasher. But anyways, the floor is yours, Clay and Buck.
All of you hanging out with us. Let's dive right into it because I am fired up. We discussed a little bit yesterday as the January 6th bombshell witness, 25-year-old Cassidy Hutchinson, who was working inside the White House with Mark Meadows, the chief of staff, at the end of the Trump administration. The January 6th committee has done whatever they can to garner as much attention as they possibly can from a gullible and often complicit news media. But yesterday's testimony from Cassidy Hutchinson, which was hearsay about what happened from her perspective based on what she had been told inside of the limo after Donald Trump's speech on January 6th, set a new low in terms of the willingness of Democrats to go after Donald Trump in this January 6th hearing. Let me explain what I mean by this. What she testified to is hearsay. Now, I understand a lot of people don't spend a lot of time on legal-related issues, but the general rule is you are not allowed to testify to something that you were told by someone else that they witnessed. That is textbook hearsay. So the January 6th committee, which features a lot of lawyers working on it, made the decision to put this 25-year-old witness on, despite the fact they knew that she was making salacious comments that she had not herself witnessed regarding what Donald Trump may have done inside of that limo. And I want to play you this cut because a lot of you are just hearing from the media about these stories and you didn't even necessarily hear what Cassidy Hutchinson said. This is textbook hearsay. Listen.
So once the president had gotten into the vehicle with Bobby, he thought that they were going up to the Capitol. And when Bobby had relayed to him, we don't have the assets to do it. It's not secure. We're going back to the West Wing. The president had very strong, a very angry response to that. Tony described him as being irate. The president said something to the effect of, "I'm the effing president, take me up to the Capitol now." To which Bobby responded, "Sir, we have to go back to the West Wing." The president reached up towards the front of the vehicle to grab at the steering wheel. Mr. Engel grabbed his arm, said, "Sir, you need to take your hand off the steering wheel. We're going back to the West Wing. We're not going to the Capitol." Mr. Trump then used his free hand to lunge towards Bobby Engel. And when Mr. Renato had recounted this story to me, he had motioned towards his clavicles.
All of this 100% would be inadmissible in a court of law, Buck. And as if that were not enough, The Secret Service has now said no one from the January 6th committee reached out to them to ask any of these details in the last 10 days, and that both Secret Service agents are ready and prepared and willing to testify to the January 6th committee that what this woman, Cassidy Hutchinson, reported that had occurred and what they had said is not true. And as the actual witnesses in that car, they are happy to tell their side of the story, which is not what Cassidy Hutchinson said. Buck, this just has blown up even for an incompetent January 6th committee. I think this has destroyed any shred of credibility that they have. This is the worst thing they could have done.
Well, this was their best shot, it seems. At least they were leading up to, this is the witness that we didn't know about before, but now with the new bombshell testimony, and you could tell that they had lined it all up, right? It reminds me of, you remember the morning, this was a great day in fake news history, when Elizabeth Warren's DNA test results came out.
Oh, yeah.
I was watching CNN in real time, and I actually got into it with their head of, PR or whatever online. They were saying, vindication for Elizabeth Warren. It turns out she is 0.8% Native American, right? I mean, and then they realized, oh my gosh, wait, that's not going to work. Like they knew what the marching orders were, and it was obviously a catastrophe for them. They knew the marching orders here were, oh my gosh, the most riveting testimony ever. Clay, this is a show trial. It's not even a trial, right? So it's almost wrong to call it that.
Any of this in a trial.
The whole thing is absurd. And what it shows you is in the absence of any Republican participation, and also the absence of any agreed upon procedures, exactly what you said. Hearsay? Yeah, whatever. They'll throw it in there. They don't care. Just process is not justice. You actually have to have a just process, right? You have to actually have some protections in place to get to the truth. This isn't about getting the truth. It's about propaganda. And by the way, they all lined up for this one. The reporting, we just
we've got a cut. I haven't even heard this yet, but I think everybody's going to enjoy it. Greg put this together on our team. Here's a montage of all the mainstream media breathlessly reacting to that hearsay commentary that you just saw.
No, this is them saying the secret. Which one are we going for here? Because the Secret Service here is saying that this is not true. The montage is that it's not true.
The montage is now them saying it was not true. You're right. Sorry. I thought it was them breathlessly reacting because we also got that.
Right.
Play cut 9.
The Secret Service will push back against any allegation of an assault against an agent or President Trump reaching for the steering wheel.
The Secret Service is telling you that the lead agent disputes some of Hutchinson's testimony?
Disputing some of that really dramatic story about Donald Trump trying to lunge forward and take control of the beast.
Prepared to testify under oath that neither man was assaulted and that Mr. Trump never lunged for the steering wheel.
The agents involved are prepared to testify under oath that the incident did not occur.
The Secret Service will deny this one little part, the steering wheel claim.
The agents would say that the incident itself described there just simply did not happen.
That's a big notice, even variation there, Clay. Secret Service willing to come out under oath. This just did not happen. Essentially, the Secret Service, who obviously swore an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution, law enforcement professionals are willing to say in front of this committee, this never happened. Do you think, now we really get down to brass tacks, do we think they're going to follow up and you're going to see the Secret Service agents involved? If they don't call these Secret Service agents to get their testimony under oath, this thing is an even bigger joke and sham than we've known it was all along.
So that is the reaction after initial breathless approval of everything that she had said. And I want to play this, but that is a good montage that was put together of people saying, oh, by the way, everything that she testified to essentially is untrue based on the people who were actually witnesses in the vehicle. Here is CNN's Jamie Gangle. This is cut 11, saying America and democracy are in debt to Cassidy Hutchinson.
Liz Cheney began her final comments by saying that we are in debt to Cassidy Hutchinson. I think America and democracy is in debt to this young woman.
So I feel bad for her, Buck. And let me explain what I mean by that. She's 25 years old. She is, I think, trying to be honest to the best of her ability. And yet they just trotted her out there solely for all the headlines to try to make Trump look bad, because they know that there's about 40% of the American public that no matter what you said, if you were like, Donald Trump pulled out a gun and put it to the Secret Service man's head and said, if you don't drive me to the Capitol right now, I'm going to blow your brains out. Like, there's a certain segment of the population, 40% of Americans would believe that happened, that Trump had a gun in the car, that he put the gun to the Secret Service agent's head. There's almost nothing you could say to those 40%. And they had already leaked everything, Buck. And so there's nothing new. And this was their desperate Hail Mary, and it got intercepted. I don't even think they even got the pass off.
This was the best shot that they could come up with, which tells you a lot. But it's also a reminder of the ongoing intelligence test here, which is, who will believe whatever crazy thing the fake news will say about the now former, by 18 months,
yes,
president of the United States? Remember back in September of 2020 when they were running with the Donald Trump said Americans who died in war are losers and suckers? That was the big, right before the election. It was their September surprise, if you will, instead of an October surprise. Trump didn't say that. And it was so obvious that's not. There are things that the former president would say that perhaps you and I would say, he's a little salty sometimes. He's a fighter. I get it. Disrespecting our military dead? Nah, that's not President Trump. Just didn't happen. But people wanted to believe it, so they believed it. In this case, Clay lunged for the throat of a Secret Service officer. Donald Trump is going to try to manhandle.
He's going to choke somebody out.
He's going to choke out a 40-year-old, highly trained Secret Service officer.
I mean, it's just nonsensical.
It goes back to your initial point. I mean, we don't even have to just, hearsay as the legal term. If you're serious here, meaning if the Democrats are serious about this story being true, of course you go with an eyewitness. Why do they go with a 25-year-old executive assistant or whatever who wasn't even there? Like, think about the mentality. They've all these months. Think of the millions of taxpayer dollars that are being spent on the congressional
lawyers.
salaries.
This is what fires me up, Buck. All the people that know better on the hearsay front that would say this is really crappy.
Oh, but they don't care.
Not very reliable.
The point is, when it comes to Trump, whether you're a journalist, a lawyer, an intelligence officer, whatever, all of your ethics are supposed to be thrown out the window because stopping and now just defaming. They're not. Stopping Trump is all that matters. And they can't get out of that mentality. And what we see here is now any person, they thought this was going to force everyone to go, oh, gosh, Donald Trump, he's so scary, the nuclear codes. And remember, the president who didn't start a war and didn't watch as Europe had its biggest war since World War II, he's the big threat? I don't think so, folks. This was their moment of vindication yesterday, Clay. And now the Secret Service has come out and said, no, it didn't happen. We'll swear to the fact that this didn't happen.
And I just, as a lawyer, I mean, I almost want there to be people who are lawyers that are on this committee held accountable by their bar associations. Like, how in the world did you ever put this witness up to tell her story?
You know even better than me, the Bar Association is basically like run by the Communist Manifesto now.
I know, unfortunately. I'm a member of two. But yes, there are from a legal perspective, what they did in this show trial was 100 billion% indefensible, also untrue. And anyone out there who is in the media that helped to propagate these lies. And Buck, when we were on the air, I was going through Twitter and people were gleefully reacting to this. And it's all a lie based on people who were actually there and witnesses. And again, the January 6th committee, according to the Secret Service, did not even reach out in the last 10 days before they allowed this bombshell witness to testify to corroborate her comments in any way. Her testimony that she heard from someone else who was there what happened, direct and clear and present hearsay. Be a good law exam question in the years ahead.